Hey, are you a business owner, entrepreneur, or professional? If so, we want you to apply to be a featured guest on our show. My name is Adam Torres, and I host the Mission Matters series of podcasts. I've recorded over 3,000 episodes, and we are just getting started. How do you know if you'd be a good guest to be on the show? Well, only one way to find out, and that's to apply, but I'm going to let you in on a little secret. We want guests that have a story to tell, guests with a brand, a product, or a service that can benefit my audience of listeners. If this sounds like you, go to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. I'd love to talk to you and get to know more about your story. Again, head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, now let's get into the show. Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Business Podcast, your source for all things business. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have on the show Rebecca Taylor, and she's co-founder and COO over at GoCoach. Rebecca, welcome to the show.
Hi, Adam. Thanks for having me.
All right, so excited to get into today's topic. So we will talk about how to empower your employees through learning opportunities. But before we get into that, Rebecca, let's start off with telling us a little bit more about what you're doing at GoCoach. Tell us a little bit more about the company, please.
Sure. So we're actually a company that's focused on upskilling, reskilling, and growing employees at all levels of an organization. So myself and my co-founder were actually HR professionals, and we built basically the company that we wish that we had access to develop our people when we were running HR organizations. And so our main sort of focus is that we partner with organizations to help them understand what their learning needs are for their employees, and then provide that solution and those resources to really fill that skills gap within their organization.
So, Rebecca, at the end of this, I'll give you an opportunity to leave website or social media, or, how organizations can connect with you and follow up. But I want to make sure that the right types of individuals or organizations do connect with GoCoach. What's typically a good fit for a client?
Yeah, so it's actually, we're pretty agnostic. We work with all different types of organizations. So, we work with Fortune 500 all the way down to, startups with one or two people. We work in different regions and areas all over the world, and we focus on different industries as well. So we work within shipping, we work within retail, we work within technology. So really any company that has some sort of employee development needs, and whether that lives within an HR representative or, within sort of the leader of a specific team, those are kind of the people that we partner with most frequently.
So, of course, this will vary from company to company, but why do you find that many companies are kind of lacking in this area, or not are doing as much as they could in this upskilling area?
Yeah, I think it's because honestly, up till now, they really haven't had to think about it as much as they realize. When the economy crashed in 2008, a lot of companies had to sort of pivot and, focus on doing more with less, right? And so a lot of the cuts that we saw that were made were focused on HR, learning and development, and really those areas that focus on long-term employee development. And this shift to kind of doing more with less has led to these cultures where employees are kind of there just doing their job or trying to figure out how to survive. And organizations haven't, been providing as much of the funding to really allow these employees to thrive. And so, we see a huge opportunity, and especially throughout the crazy year that 2020 has been, we've seen an increase in the way that companies are sort of shifting funds to develop their employees now, because they realize that if you're only allowing someone to survive in the role that they're in today, they're not going to be ready to focus and thrive on the role that you might need them to be in tomorrow, whether that's a leadership role or all of a sudden a role where you're working remotely, through your team kind of scattered everywhere. So, historically, it's been something that had existed, that got cut due to financial measures, that there's definitely been sort of an uptick and a need for as people are kind of growing that now.
So there's a lot of organizations listening right now, and some of them, this is a priority area. Why do you feel
or where does a company begin to build a culture of learning really within their organization? Like, how does a company pull this off?
Yeah. So it really starts by knowing your employees. We're a very data-driven company, and we believe that data really tells the story. So, we usually recommend running some sort of an engagement survey or an employee satisfaction survey to understand where your employees are. That'll at least get you to understand kind of what your employees are looking for and where they feel like they could use a little bit more support. Using that as a lens, you can then sort of do either a 9-box strategy or, some sort of exercise where you can determine kind of which employees might be at the most need for development. You want to look at your high potentials. You want to look at the people who you feel and who you think could really be sort of the future of your organization, and those people who you really can't afford to lose, because every company has those, right? And that's really how you can determine between the combination of what your employees are telling you they're looking for, combined with what you really think your company is going to need from a certain group of people. Then you can really start to think about how you want to deliver that. And, the how is a lot of that story that's told in that engagement survey, but that's also a lot of where the conversations go when we connect with companies. So, our specialty is really kind of digging into the data that your employees are giving you and using that to form the right customized solution for what your path forward is. Sometimes it's in the form of, maybe a group of trainings. Sometimes it's focused on one-to-one coaching to really individually level up those specific employees that you have. But it really starts with that data and then providing a solution to answer to that data. And the only way that solution is going to really come to fruition is by providing your HR organization or your leadership with the funding to invest in something like that.
So I'd like to have you maybe speak to some of the those that haven't considered, what culture means or that learning culture means. Could you elaborate maybe on why this is so important?
Yeah, absolutely. So what a learning culture is kind of broadly defined as is a plan within an organization that focuses on the roles that your employees can fill tomorrow. So it's, when you look at an organization that focuses very highly on productivity and delivering what the company needs for you to do today, it's a culture that's not necessarily focused, or at least as focused as they think they are, on what they could do tomorrow. And what a culture of learning really provides is it provides resources and areas for your employees to actually focus on how they can upskill themselves and how they can learn how to do the jobs that the company is going to need them to do tomorrow. And it's something that if it's not ingrained in your organization from the beginning, it's something that you can really kind of start somewhere. A lot of times we'll work with organizations where their culture of learning starts with these surveys, but also with specific employee groups or specific points in time of the employee experience. So, for example, a really strong culture of learning is an organization that has a good onboarding plan for every new hire. So when a person gets started within the organization, they have a 90-day onboarding where they know everybody who they're going to be working with, and they have the time and the resources to get acclimated to their role and to their team. Part of that plan can also include long-term coaching, maybe for this person's first year of their role, so that they can continue to adjust to all the different nuances that your organization might have. And so it's really about providing resources for your employees to have help and to really have those resources to kind of find their potential and to unlock that as they go throughout your organization. The benefit for that for companies is that, you have employees who are engaged in their role, they're more productive, and they stay. You're not necessarily looking at replacing the same people over and over again if you're able to provide this culture of learning where people are continuously learning, being developed, and supported throughout their entire career.
So, Rebecca, if somebody is listening to this right now and they want to learn more about GoCoach or they want to connect to you and your team, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, they can find us on our website, which is gocoachgo.com, or I'm happy to connect with anyone directly as well. You can find me on LinkedIn. My name is Rebecca Taylor, and my email is rebecca@gocoachgo.com.
Perfect. Well, Rebecca, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about all the great work that you're doing over at GoCoach to help organizations really, build that culture of learning. So great stuff there. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value. If you're a first-time listener, don't forget, hit that subscribe button. We'd definitely like you to be a return listener. I'll have a lot of other great guests coming up for you. Don't want you to miss out on anything. And Rebecca, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thank you, Adam, and thanks everybody for listening.